You're going to need to plug that into your camera. That's hanging right there. Yeah.
This is yeah.
This is great.
This is great, isn't
podcasting video right here. What's going on, everyone? I'm Travis Brown with KPTX Senior, Texas A&M sportswriter. I am here, that is in studio in Bryan, Texas, but really more importantly is who's over there. And I want to bring in our sports director, Tyler Shaw, who is in Denver at Ball Arena. It'll always be the Pepsi Center to me. Tyler, how is things in Denver getting ready for that March Madness first-round matchup between Texas A&M and Yale?
Yeah, it's good. So, Mile High City. We're kind of making this a routine thing of, doing these podcasts on the road and back in studio, split, We're cross-country doing this podcast, so pretty cool. Vibes are great. I love Denver, great city. I have been here before for a Nuggets game. That was, back when it was the Pepsi Center. So it's cool being back here. Landing was not so great. The flight was delayed. Ended up getting to the hotel about midnight. By the time we landed in Denver, it was snowing. They opened up the back door for some reason of the plane, and so just this Arctic blast of air was just coming into the plane. And we flew in from Houston, so it was 80 degrees when we left, and now it's 18 degrees with the wind blowing. So it was a little adventurous, kind of getting there and getting settled in, and remembering, I'm here west again, and it's cold and high. You got the altitude as well, but we're ready to go, ready to get this madness started. Should be fun.
So what I'm hearing here is that by the time I get up there, which I should be able to be there should A&M win this first-round matchup, it's going to be bright and sunny. You're the only one who has to deal with it.
Yeah, so today's cold. Now, granted, I've been inside all day, so I haven't had to deal with a whole lot. But it'll warm up. It'll get back into the 50s maybe and sunny. Now, granted, when the sun goes down, it's still gonna be cold. But I think once the tournament is done, then that's gonna be next week is when it's really gonna be nice here in Denver, 70s, I think. So of course we missed that.
Perfect, just in time. We'll be in maybe in Atlanta by then, getting some more hot chicken. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
So you got to see practice today. Got to talk to the players. First off, what did that shoot around is kind of interesting. That some fans are able to come in. They're able to kind of get a feel for the court. What was shoot around like?
I will say, the way A&M, just kind of their brand is, the defense number one, but getting the offensive rebounds and getting fouled and getting to the line. That's just part of their offense. And we've kind of broken it down and looked at throughout the season that they succeed when they out-rebound their opponent, which they do most of the time, and when they make their free throws. I hope shoot-around, for the Aggies' case, was not an indication of how their free throw shooting will go tomorrow. One of the drills they do, they split up, so they're using both ends of the goal. They're all in a line, and they're using both goals. They have to make, I don't know how many in a row they need to make. I'm guessing 10, but they got the assistants yelling out loud, 1, 2, 3. They have to make it in a row. Anytime someone misses, 0. Travis, let's just say I heard a lot of zeros being thrown out there today, just in these free throw warm-ups. I don't know. I mean, I know it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but I mean, if they're shooting like this, in practice, I'm hoping for their sake, if they want to win this game, they can, convert on their free throw chances, unlike they did today in practice.
You can't see my face right now, but I'm kind of doing that emoji with the gritted teeth. That's not good for March Madness. To me, when we've filled out our brackets, we have a little in-house bracket pool. And for me, when I'm looking at a bracket, the three things I always look at compared between teams is defensive efficiency rate or efficiency numbers, offensive rebounding, how good they are at that, and free throw shooting, because those, I think, are the biggest statistical key points that get you through a tournament. There's variables. If you get really hot from three, it kind of negates some of that. But consistently, those are three of the biggest categories. Free throw shooting and defense and offense rebound, A&M has good. Free throw shooting, it basically lost them the game against Texas in the SEC tournament. They were able to hit some down the line, but early on, they only hit 50%. That doesn't really bode well for the Aggies.
No, and they're going to have to convert them. I think if they're going to, this time of year is so imperative to make your free throws, and defensively it'll be an interesting matchup. I really want to see. I'm probably going to butcher the guy's name, but Bez and Bang, he's the 3-time defending Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. They have all the confidence in the world that he can play one-on-one with anybody and can lock down somebody. So you would anticipate they're going to put him on Wade. Now, for A&M, Wade has been taken out of the equation before. I actually asked Buzz about this, and he said, the good news is they're used to seeing the best perimeter defenders, just hone in on Wade, and he's seen every kind of switch on ball screen and every kind of defense thrown at him. The way A&M has matured and taken a step further this year is they have different options besides Wade. I think they're really going to have to rely on that tomorrow, because I would guess if you have that kind of a defender like Yale does, that they're just going to, hey, we're not letting Wade beat us. Make someone else beat us.
Yeah, and I have the Yale impact players pulled up right now. Bez and Bang, of course, the one you mentioned, third leading scorer, 13.4 points per game. And then forward Nick Townsend, 5.4 points per game, led all by John Pouladikis, 19.2 points per game. Here's the thing, all three of those guys shooting 37% or better from three-point range. How much was the three-point ball talked about with players and coaches for both of these teams?
Yeah, so we definitely mentioned. That was the first, when I was looking through game notes and stuff. The thing that stuck out to me was the percentage that these guys shoot from, and it's giving me kind of shades of Penn State a couple years ago when they just went off from beyond the arc. That is obviously a nightmare scenario that you would not want happen if you're A&M. But they're aware of it. They know that they can't let these guys go off. And A&M's defense has done better at guarding the three this year. They're still susceptible to a guy going off, and Yale's got three of them that could do it here. Now, it was interesting. I talked to Dana Jacobson, she's going to be the sideline reporter for the game for TBS tomorrow. She kind of her point of view was interesting. She's seen so many times where these teams that rely on the three and these hot shooting teams, she's seen that be a detriment. And if you get cold for one game, it's one and done. You're out. And A&M does not obviously rely on that on their offense. They can muddy it. They can play ugly and still grind out these wins. Just the style they play. So in her mind, she thinks it's an advantage for A&M because all it takes is for Yale to go cold a little bit, and A&M can take advantage. Now, on the flip side of that, if they get just scorching hot like they could be capable of, it could be a long day for A&M.
Yeah, let's look at the tail of the tape here between these two schools. We talked about it a little bit on the offensive and defensive efficiency. A&M is by far the better defensive team. They're 7th in the nation in defensive efficiency. Yale ranks 117th in that category. A&M also has the edge in offensive efficiency at 42nd in the nation, and Yale is 58th. But the biggest differentials here is A&M is first in offensive rebound. Like you said, they're going to muck it up. They're going to get the offensive boards, get second chance possibilities, second chance points, and they're going to get to the free throw line, and you would think on a good day they're going to hit free throws. Yale, it's all about the three-point percentage. They're 9th in the country in three-point percentage at 38.5. A&M, if you look back at their last 10 games, they're one of the worst in the country in three-point defense, in about the 320th ranking. But the other interesting thing here, too, is they both play with a pretty similar tempo. A&M 66.1 possessions per game on average. Yale 67.2. So it's going to be a slow, grinded-out game for both these teams. A&M is just basically going to have to defend that three-pointer better if they want to have some success in this game and not make it like that Penn State game before. When you have kind of looked at some of these numbers, what stands out to you in that regard as well?
Well, I think it's the percent. Now, the rate at which they shoot, it's not like they do rely on their percentage from three, but they're not shooting at such a high clip that is their entire offense. So that's kind of interesting to me. I do think it is going to come down, though, to will Yale make their threes or not. I don't think they're going to go crazy and chuck up more than they have been. But I don't know. When you boil it down, do you think it's one of those does it come down to the three? Does it come down to does A&M defend the three? If they do, they win. If they get hot, they don't. Because you also have, their Ivy League leading scorer, John Polakaitis, who not only is he a deadly three-point shooter, he gets to the free throw line as well. And he's shooting basically 90% from the free throw line. So you've got some guys that are kind of dangerous in multi-dimensions here, I guess.
Sure. By the way, great shot there. You really framed it up. Really pro look there. You got the March Madness off to the side. We got that really annoying NCAA March Madness theme song a little bit ago going off as they're testing.
Yeah,
I mean, just you're real pro right there on your shot.
It's not my first rodeo. Thank you.
It's you said you needed another pair of hands out there to help. This is what I see is I should actually just not be there because you're doing so well without me. We looked at the South bracket, and I'll kind of put up the graphic that actually you made earlier this week. A&M does face Yale, the winner of that game, Michigan, and UC San Diego. The fact of the matter is, before we even get down to looking at further down this region of the bracket, does A&M get past Yale? Do they have a chance at the Michigan or UC San Diego?
So these 4 teams is so interesting to me because honestly, this 13 Yale and the 12 UC San Diego, I would not be surprised in the slightest if both of them pulled off the upset. It's so interesting to me. UC San Diego's really hot. They've got a lot of guards that can shoot it. Yale, we know what they're capable of. And Yale's a very confident team. I mean, this is a 13 seed. There was a 13 seed last year that beat a 4 seed Auburn. They know they can, and a lot of these guys are seniors and they were there last year. So they know they can do it. They have the confidence. I give a slight edge to Texas A&M right now. Again, it would not surprise me if Yale pulls off the upset. I do think A&M, this team is mature enough and they're disciplined enough that they can win this game. Now, when you're looking at that second round matchup, again, I said I wouldn't be surprised if UC San Diego won either. If Michigan gets past UC San Diego, I do think that's going to be a tough road for A&M. Michigan just coming off that Big Ten championship tournament where they've been scorching hot. So it's one of those. It's a tough draw for A&M, but I guess not the toughest. I think they're still capable of getting to the Sweet 16.
And shout out.
How do you see it?
Yeah, shout out to the one point that I want to raise up, and shout out to the great Robert Behrens of Good Bull Hunting on Twitter because he's the one that first pointed this out. But A&M's worst loss of the season was UCF. Their one quad 2 loss. In the net rankings, UCF came in around 71. That's about 20 spots higher than Akron, which was Yale's best win of the season if you want to look at net rankings. So if you want to look at the level of competition, which you're making threes against teams that are going to be defending at a level of 90 or lower in the net, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything in March. So just an interesting point to bring out. I'll bring up the bracket here one more time. I have. That's a matter of if you give A&M the edge. We've filled out brackets, man. You gotta commit or not. I went with A&M in the first round. Did you go with A&M in the first round?
I did. In my bracket, I have A&M beating Yale because yes, you do have to commit. So I committed to A&M over Yale.
I also have BYU losing to VCU. So have fun with that.
Yeah, well.
I actually
it's a good thing that you're not the know-it-all bracketologist that's going to get all these picks right.
Oh,
so.
good, yeah, We'll have fun with that one when it happens next week or doesn't happen.
I am very nervous about that 11-6 seed, though. I will say, VCU scares me.
Yeah. In the other side for A&M, we talked about it, UC San Diego, Michigan. UC San Diego bringing the nation's longest winning streak, I believe, into this, or is that High Point? Now that I'm questioning myself, they have a really long winning streak. I have UC San Diego winning this game. That's one of my biggest upsets in this. Is I have UC San Diego actually winning this game. So it would be A&M and UC San Diego in the second half. But also Michigan won the Big 12 is a blue blood powerhouse type program. What did you have there, and what would that second round matchup look like?
So again, like I said, I would not be surprised if both of these teams get upset, Yale and UC San Diego get the wins. But in my bracket, I do have Michigan. I just think they're a solid team coming off that Big Ten championship win, and I've got them beating UC San Diego. And then if it's Texas A&M and Michigan, I do have Michigan winning. I know it's not much of an upset of 4 and 5, but I have Michigan advancing to the Sweet 16.
The craziest matchup, the one I probably looked the most at of any matchup going through my bracket, was Auburn versus Louisville, which would be a second round matchup on the top part of that region with A&M. I have Auburn coming out, but man, I looked at it a couple times. Do Auburn as well for you, or do you have any faith in Louisville?
So that's an interesting. So that one and Houston Gonzaga are my two 1-8 matchups where I did pick Gonzaga over Houston. That's kind of my big one upset. I do have Auburn coming out, but I don't have Auburn going as far as I think most people do. I want to say I have them. I'm pulling up my bracket right now. Yeah, so I have Auburn edging past Louisville. I still have Michigan staying hot and upsetting Auburn in the Sweet 16. So yeah, that's just, I have Auburn getting to the Sweet 16. They've been the best team in basketball for so long, but they've shown a lot of vulnerabilities and they're susceptible. So I don't know if they're going to make kind of a Final Four type run.
So spoiler alert. I mean, you have Michigan beating A&M.
I do. I have Michigan over A&M to get to the Sweet 16 and then eventually to get to the Elite Eight. Yeah, that's just kind of how. Again, that's not saying I do think A&M is very capable of making the Sweet 16. I think they should get to the Sweet 16. But I mean, when you have a pick 'em like this and you're trying to win, you try to, this is just how I see it playing out.
Well, A&M fans, you heard it right here. You can email your complaints to tyler.shaw at KB. So.
Hey y'all, it's Max, and if you've been watching the pod, you know this by now, that we have a new official sponsor of the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. And it is a familiar face. You know him, you have seen him around Aggieland for many, many years. Say hello to C&J Barbecue. Now, I don't know if there are many of you out there, but if you live in the Brazos Valley and you have not been to C&J Barbecue yet, what on earth are you guys doing? The crew at C&J started out smoking just about 20 pounds of meat a day in a tiny gas station on a Harvey Road. Now, they serve over 2,200 pounds every single day across 3 locations. So you know it's good. They've fed President Bush, catered for Willie Nelson. Yeah, Willie. But most importantly, they've been feeding Aggies and locals for over 40 years. In fact, I had myself some at a catering event last weekend, and the brisket was absolutely amazing. Don't even get me started on the sides and the appetizers because Justin is always cooking up some amazing stuff. Just get there, see, smell, and taste for yourself. Tell them the guys sent you. C&J Barbecue, a family tradition.
My other bracket, I had Jenny fill one out. She has Texas A&M and BYU playing for the national championship. So you can you can look at her bracket.
You're just using your kid as a human shield now. That's basically what's happening with this. If A&M and Auburn were to meet up in the next round, we would have plenty of time to talk about that. But initially, do you think lightning could strike twice for A&M in that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where the draw is not the best for A&M right now in this first weekend. But yeah, when you're looking ahead to a potential Sweet 16 with Auburn, I do like their chances. So let's say if A&M gets gets past this weekend, and it is Auburn on the other side, if I had to redo my bracket, I would probably pick A&M to get to the Elite Eight because I think Lightning can strike twice, and I think Buzz Williams has Bruce Pearl's number a little bit.
Sure. Okay, so what are we missing? What else did you run across out there today in Denver with the Aggies on media practice day?
Well, I still need to get some food. Denver's a pretty decent food scene. Not as great as Nashville was last week, but still got to find. I mean, it was kind of it was kind of funny. It almost felt like routine. Because this is the third straight year A&M's been here, and the practice day that's kind of looked exactly like the last couple, where Buzz takes his pictures with every single player and staffer on his team. He gets one with Brad Nessler calling the game, and they do their prayer walk across the whole thing. They take their kind of aerial shot on the court, their big group team photo.
Well, if he got a picture with Brad Nessler, did he get a picture with Tyler Shaw? That's the real question.
No, he did not. He asked.
Okay.
I said no, Buzz. No, I'm not quite on that level to get those kind of pictures. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, not a lot of fans, but we've talked about this. So it's just there wasn't a lot of fans for any of these teams here coming to watch. I would say years prior, I probably saw more fans come out. But that also, what was it last year that Kansas was kind of there, so Jayhawk fans showed out, or maybe that was 2 years ago. But none of these teams. Really
By the way, there's that annoying
out.
NCAA theme song.
Yeah.
That happens at every championship.
Yeah, they're rolling through their video. I'll give you a sneak peek here. Hold on, let's see.
Oh, we are producing on the fly, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. There's a little bit of the video they're running through with that NCAA theme song. Hold on, my light just fell down, so now I gotta put that thing back up.
Producing on the fly, Tyler Shaw, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we pay him the big bucks. He is both sports director, podcaster, and cameraman. Oh, you're gonna need to plug that into your camera. That's hanging right there. Yeah.
This is.
This is great.
This is great, isn't it?
Podcasting video right here. I think we have a cold open for our podcast right now.
There we go. All right.
So that was it. And now you got the A&M logo behind you. It worked out perfectly.
There we go.
Well, we don't have to get too far into it because we're going to have plenty of time to talk about it. But real quick, what's your Final Four?
Okay, my Final Four. I didn't go very so I've got Duke and Florida. I have Gonzaga. They're kind of it's kind of weird to call them like the Cinderella pick because they're Gonzaga. They've been here, name brand. They've won a lot of tournament games, but they are an 8 seed. I have them taking on Duke, and I have 2 seed Michigan State. So Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Gonzaga, and then I've got Duke and Florida in the national title game with Duke winning it all. That's, of course, if Cooper Flagg stays healthy through this whole thing.
That's interesting. So
what's
I went very SEC. I have Florida. We're very upsetty too. Usually I'm pretty chalky. I went upsetty this year.
Yeah.
Even though I thought by looking at it that this actually could be one of the chalkiest of years. I have Florida playing. I have Florida coming all the way out from that side. And I'm doing this just trying to do it by memory. On the other side, I have Tennessee and Wisconsin. And I have Tennessee beating Wisconsin from there. The other side was Florida, and now I'm trying to remember who's in that bottom bracket, which I should have looked this up before I came in here. But the moral of the story is I have Florida and Tennessee.
Texas Tech.
No, Iowa State. Iowa
Texas
State.
Tech, Iowa State.
Iowa State. So I have Florida, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Florida and Tennessee, Florida winning it all.
Yeah, I almost picked Florida to win it all. So Florida and Tennessee is your national championship game.
Florida and Tennessee would be a repeat of the SEC title game. But
interesting. Yeah. I like that. Now with 14 SEC teams, I guess you have a good chance of there being a lot of SEC teams. I just think, not that it's overrated, but I mean, last year the SEC did not do well at all in the tournament, and I know this it's a different year and everything, but they call it March Madness for a reason. I think a lot of these SEC teams are not going to go as far as they're projected to go, but I do think Florida is the best team in the SEC right now, and I think they have the best chance of winning it all out of these SEC teams.
Sure. Let's shift gears a little bit. I know you are pretty oblivious to this because you were I was covering football back home while you were taking care of basketball. But spring football starts on Friday. We talked to
it's here.
Yeah, for I know for fans it's great. For us who were having to deal with like 5 sports at once, it's a little bit of an eye roll. But here we are. Mike Elko, Marcel Reed, and Will Lee all talked to us today. And just real quickly buzzing through the biggest probably conversation points of the whole thing was who was there and who is available for spring ball. The first thing I'll bring up here is the fact that Micah Hudson, the transfer from Texas Tech, wide receiver, he is not with the program anymore. There was some reports from On3 that came out earlier a few weeks after he transferred in January that was saying he was going to step away from the team for personal reasons. Mike Elko confirmed today that he is not with the team, and an A&M spokesperson also confirmed that he is not enrolled with A&M, so there's no way he could be in and around the team. He's not even a student at A&M this semester, so he was supposed to be a big piece of this kind of revamped wide receiver core, had 8 receptions for 123 yards, 0 touchdowns, but was a 5-star recruit out of Lake Belton in high school. He is not going to be on the Aggies this year. Likelihood he'll hit the transfer portal again when it opens after spring ball. And then injuries, the guys who won't participate in spring practice this year. On defense, those guys are cornerback Tyreek Chappell, cornerback Javon Thomas, linebacker Scooby Williams are the 3 guys. They suffered injuries last year, still need some time to rehab. Mike Elko said those guys should be ready for individual and conditioning stuff in the summer. On offense, it is the 2 running backs, Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels. They suffered late season injuries, as well as Amaj Reed Adams, the offensive lineman. Those 3 guys will not participate in spring practice, but will be back for summer workouts. And then 2 freshmen who had off-season surgeries here, Jamar Beal-Goins, the defensive back, and offensive lineman Joshua Moses, both will not be available for spring practice. Tyler, how ready are you for football season or practice football season?
Yeah, I mean, well, you kind of nailed it on the head with, for fans, it's awesome. Spring football, we always love football, and, anything is happening on the gridiron, we're there for it. As media, yeah, in this time of year, it's just like, man, it was just one more thing on our plate. But, I mean, it does kind of, you start thinking about football again, and, Le'Veon Moss, it makes sense for him being out for the kind of injury he suffered there late in the season. It's one of those things that, man, if he was available, that would be awesome to see kind of what he's like in the spring. Again, you want to save him and for the fall when he's completely healthy. So that'll be interesting, kind of how they work out, because I do think a lot of this offense is going to go through Le'Veon Moss when he's back. So how they play without him. The Micah Hudson thing, they need playmakers like him. That was kind of the biggest knock on offense, is they didn't have those receivers, those deep threats, those guys that'll get open. They got some other transfers, and you got Concepcion and Mario Craven, and you got guys that could fill those voids, but you're going to need every one that you can get. So Micah Hudson didn't work out. It'll be interesting how they kind of supplement that, and maybe they pick someone else up along the way. I don't know, but they are going to need all the help they need at receiver. Casey
Concepcion actually is a guy that all 3, Mike Elko, Will Lee, and Marcel Reed said if there's a guy that stood out so far, he is the guy. He's fast, and Marcel Reed said he's excited to throw to him. Will Lee said he's not excited to go up against him. Mike Elko called him out by name. Shout out to our buddy Rob Havens over at Aggie Land Illustrated, the magazine. We asked Mike Elko during the first signing day if he could go through some of these transfers that they were bringing in. He said, no, we're gonna do that when they're all here and enrolled. And so he asked, hey, can you go through all of these transfers? Give us a little tidbit about all the guys. And he said, no. And he's like, Rob Haynes said, no, actually, here, I have a list. I've written them all out. So he walked up to the podium and handed Mike Elko the list of transfers, and he went down one by one and named it. So shout out to Rob Havens for being prepared. He gets the Boy Scout Award of the pod this week. But
there you go.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Casey Concepcion brings because that's the guy that everybody is talking about. And then the other point that we've talked about on here before, because Texas announced that it's not going to have a spring game. Mike Elko, he says the only thing he buys about not having a spring game is if you're one of those teams that goes deep into the semifinals or the finals of the playoff, and you just need a little more time for your guys to recover. That might be a reason to skip a spring game, but the idea that teams are out there scouting your players are gonna steal them after a spring game, he doesn't buy into that. And he says for the near future, A&M will have a spring game. So celebrate that tonight, Tyler. When you're you can raise a toast to Mike Elko that we will be covering spring games for the foreseeable future.
We still have the spring games. Thank you, Elko.
Yes. We did. So okay, so what's on the menu tonight? We'll go full Alex Miller here and turn this into a food podcast.
I haven't even gotten that far, Travis. It's I got here kind of early. Met up with found Dana Jacobson. I got to watch a little bit of BYU. I've just kind of hit the ground running. I mean, getting all the shows ready and interviews and how practice day is. So I haven't even thought about it. There's a few spots I like downtown. We'll see. We'll see what's open by the time I get over there. I guess that's the main thing. What is open late? That's probably what I'll be getting.
Texas A&M's own Matt Simon, 12th Man Productions' own Matt Simon, said there's a place, I believe it's called Nick's. I'll double check with him. It's a burger place, and he claims it is the best burger he's ever eaten in his life. And now I'm mostly just hoping A&M beats Yale, so I have a chance to go try this burger and either agree or scoff at him.
Yeah, that's a lot to live. I hate when people put those ultimatums of best ever. That's tough to live up to, but I'm sure it's pretty good. So I'll have to put that on the list.
And one request, you got the hotel room already. I didn't mention this. I have a wedding of a best friend coming up this weekend, so that's why I'm missing the first game. But I have my plane flight booked from Oklahoma City to get into Denver Saturday for that second round game. We're sharing a room. We have, I'm sure, the two queen beds. Do not use my bed as a food bed. I don't want ants in my bed when I get there.
I thought about it.
Because you can do the two bed and you can eat in one and sleep in the other. Do not get ants in my bed or I will fight you.
I'm a nice guy. I haven't touched your bed. I even took the murder bed, the one closest to the door. So
good. I need you to protect me.
Everything's there and clean and ready for you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, he's got to go eat, so we'll let him go, and we'll wrap this up for this week. Tyler, be safe. Take care. Warm things up temperature-wise for me there, and we'll be out there for that second-round matchup. And we'll be back next week no matter what happens with the Aggies, either break down the Sweet 16 or kind of put a wrap on the A&M basketball season. We'll talk more baseball. We'll be right in the middle of spring football, so there's always plenty to talk about on the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast when it comes to Texas A&M sports. So for Tyler Shaw in Denver, I'm Travis Brown back here in Bryan. We'll talk to you next week.